Hi YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Pocky for Thought. Here's hoping that my video editor works again with this camera now that it's on a different computer, and that I've figured out the issues with the microphone that I'm having, the muffler thing that came with it. Something happened to it so that when I put it on it makes all of the audio only go through one ear when you have your earbuds in, and I'm hoping to be avoiding that with how I got it set up right now. So hopefully that works. And what we're going to be talking about today on Pocky for Thought is Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Woo! And specifically, we're going to be talking about Son Goku. I have a few other video ideas that are Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z related, so we'll be revisiting Dragon Ball in due time in a few times this year. I'm also planning on going back to Yu Yu Hakusho and talk about Durarara and a few other things. But for now, we're going to be talking about Son Goku and how it's canon that he is developmentally disabled. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. Goku? No, he's not. He's just an uneducated hick who lives in the mountains. But Akira Toriyama has a lot of uneducated hick characters and educated hick characters who are still kind of silly. But Son Goku stands out significantly from these other characters. Now, I'm mostly familiar with the anime, so I will be talking about the original Japanese Dragon Ball anime, the English dubs of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and touch a little bit on things that are canon versus or a Toriyama canon versus anime canon. And this might end up being multiple installments covering the same sort of topic, because there's so much I can talk about Goku being developmentally disabled and how that is made canon by different things in the narrative. But this episode is going to be strictly traits that Goku has that indicate that he is developmentally disabled, and how it compares to other characters in Dragon Ball and even the manga Dr. Slump. I read the manga for Dr. Slump, but have only seen a few episodes of the anime. So let's start off with why it's canon. And for this episode, we'll be talking specifically about things that Goku does and has that are independent of other characters interacting with him. So there's not going to be so much talk about individual relationships and how Goku's failure to interpret social situations accurately affects the narrative, and how that shows that Goku is developmentally disabled. But we will be getting there eventually, because there's a lot I want to talk about Goku and Chi-Chi, but that's for a different video. Okay, so why it's canon. Goku's face blind! Yay! It's not really a yay, but it's something I have in common with him, because as you probably don't know, because I haven't made a video about it, I'm autistic. I was actually diagnosed with autism, which is a developmental disorder, not a mental illness. Mental illnesses are different things than developmental disorders. Developmental disabilities. Bleh. And I was diagnosed with that kind of early last year, like, I want to say May. So I was literally graduating without having had minimal help from the disabilities office, and definitely no help with any of the learning disabilities I got diagnosed with at the same time. Right I graduated without much help, basically. With a B average, yay! But, so, I'm developmentally disabled, so that's part of what helped me figure out that so's Goku, and what really stood out to me when I was rewatching Dragon Ball was that Goku's face blind. How do we know that he's face blind? He doesn't recognize Yamcha when Yamcha gets a haircut. Goku knows what Yamcha looks like. And sure, he's been training with Master Roshi and Krillin, but Goku doesn't really have too much problems recognizing Bulma. But here's the thing about Bulma versus Yamcha. Bulma is the only character in the whole anime who has blue hair until Bra is born in Dragon Ball Z. So Bulma is literally the only blue-haired woman Goku ever has contact with. So even if Goku did run into another blue-haired lady, the first person that's going to occur to him that the blue-haired person might be is Bulma. And because he's never run into any other blue-haired people, it's pretty easy for him to always tell that it's Bulma, even with Bulma's different hairstyles. But Yamcha's face actually gets replicated in different characters in Dragon Ball Z specifically, and even a character in Dr. Slump has a face that looks a lot like Yamcha. He's kind of like a little Yamcha clone physically, which always amused me when I was reading the manga. But Yamcha does not particularly have many distinguishing features. Yamcha actually does look kind of like a bunch of other characters, even though as someone watching the anime and knowing that some of those characters are mostly in filler episodes, it's kind of obvious which one's Yamcha and which one's not. But Goku, all Yamcha did was get a haircut. He doesn't even have his distinctive scarring yet. So Goku doesn't even have the scars to tell that it's Yamcha. So it's like, man with short hair who he thinks he hasn't met before comes up to talk to him during the first Tenkaichi Budokai, and he has no idea it's Yamcha. And Yamcha's actually very surprisingly understanding about it. I think that Yamcha might already have the suspicions that Goku sees things differently, and Yamcha's just seemed more patient with Goku than Krillin or Bulma or Master Roshi. I have lots of words to say about Master Roshi, but that's for a different video. But, so yeah, face blindness. And it's not just that one moment when Yamcha gets a haircut. It's not like Goku doesn't know what a haircut is. There's even later in the series when it's again before the Tenkaichi Budokai, but this time when Ten Shenhan and Chiaotzu are in the tournament. Goku is like double checking that it's Bulma, like, her hair is blue, but it's short, so is it Bulma? So that kind of shows that Goku can't really tell people apart just by looking at their face. And a thing that's kind of cute, but also shows that Goku has difficulty telling people apart, is when Master Roshi is holding up two pictures of two different women and is asking Goku to tell which one looks prettier. He's wanting Goku to say that it's the blonde one with the makeup and slender face and stuff. And Goku's just kind of looking in between them, and it's really cute and sweet that Goku says that he doesn't really see a difference between the two. But since he can't really tell Yamcha is Yamcha with the haircut, and that he does have some difficulty telling even his friends apart, though a lot of them do have distinctive features, so that definitely does help. I think that it's very, very safe to say that Goku's face blind to an extent. Obviously not entirely face blind. There are conditions where you really can't, you really cannot tell people apart, or if you you can tell who they are and remember what they look like when they're looking at you, but as soon as you like turn your head, you completely forget what their face looks like. But I don't really know the name for that, and I'm not actually sure if that's the same as face blindness, though it's probably it's definitely a similar condition, but that's not what Goku has. Goku has kind of what I have, which is, a lot of the time, I know that certain people have certain features, and that helps me tell them apart, but like, if there's like a dramatic hairstyle change, or if they're really not wearing clothes that they normally wear, or something has happened where it's hard to tell who it is just by looking at them, I start to have some trouble. When I was little, I actually had a hard time finding my mother in grocery stores and would mistake strangers for my mother just because they were kind of wearing similar clothes, and it would take me like 20 minutes to figure out that that wasn't my mom. Most of the time I'm able to tell who my mom is, but sometimes because I'm partially face blind, I still have difficulty, and it gets really awkward when you mistake a Chinese woman you don't know for your black best friend. That was embarrassing. But anyway, that's all I have to say about Goku being face blind and how that would indicate that Goku is developmentally disabled, because things we have in common. Yay! Another thing that Goku has that wouldn't really indicate developmental disability if it was by itself, but since he has all these other traits that I'm going to be listing, I would say that it counts. Pitiful math skills. Absolutely pitiful. Goku cannot do basic math without his fingers. He simply cannot do it. So Goku starts out as 12 in Dragon Ball, and it's understandable at first. He's uneducated, never been in a school environment, really can't even figure out how old he is until Launch teaches him how to all the numbers. Before the Tenkaichi Budokai, and then he's able to say that, oh, I'm 12, and Bulma and Krillin are like, what? You're that much younger than us? But yeah, Goku can't do math. He really can't. There's a moment in Buu Saga, and he's with Gohan. I forget the exact stuff that's going on, mostly because I never actually finished Buu Saga. It really bored me, and it was really weird, but like, after Goku became the main character again, after Gohan had his little Great Saiyaman stuff, I kind of started not being interested, especially when Buu was having all those forms, and people were dying, but then they were still there, and it was everyone, and something with the hyperbolic time chamber blowing up or something, and I was just like, what is this? Make it stop. But anyway, there's a moment during Buu Saga where Goku is like trying to do math, and he's like in his late 30s or early 40s by this point. So he's a 40-something-year-old man trying to figure out basic math with his fingers. That indicates like dyscalculia or something. And Goku actually isn't the only one with difficulty with math in Dragon Ball. Chaozu has like just as poor math skills as Goku does, which I think is interesting. Though I would if I was going to say that Chaozu is also developmentally disabled, I would say that's a headcanon instead of it being canon, because really the only indication that I really see with Chaozu is his poor math skills. There are some behavioral things that you could say Chaozu has in common with developmentally disabled people, but really that could also come from just Chaozu's personality, which isn't as much dependent on a developmentally disabled worldview. So for Chaozu, it's more of a headcanon, but as Chaozu and Goku both having difficulty with math is certainly canon.